Hey, Leading Hope community. A little bit of a different start to the podcast over this month. I'm so excited. This month, I have a book coming out, and it's very different from the content of this podcast. This is not a leadership book. It's about faith, how people lose it, what happens when faith has been left behind, and how to rebuild it. The book is titled Reconstructing the Rubble. It doesn't release nationwide until March, but if you want to be a part of the launch team, you can go to behope.church/book to get an early copy of this book and help us get the word out to others. Thanks so much for being a part of this, and here is our Leading Hope podcast.
Welcome to the Leading Hope Podcast with Kevin Jack. Your influence will lead people somewhere, lead them towards hope. Everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.
Welcome to Leading Hope with Kevin Jack. I'm your host, VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. We release a new episode every Wednesday, so we'd love for you to share on social media and bring others along with us on this journey of becoming a better leader. Visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, welcome. We'd hope that you subscribe now. It means so much to us right now. And also post about it. Rate and review on any of the platforms that you're listening on. I know that we keep telling you guys this, but it really does make a difference. The algorithms are real, and so if you post or rate and review, that actually bumps it up and gets it into more hands of leaders and people like you that listen every week. So thanks for helping us out. It's been a tremendous impact on all kinds of people's lives, and even mine, so that's incredible too. So hey, check out today, episode 47.
I like that you said algorithms are real.
They are real things that live in the algorithm universe. So episode 47 is today. We are still in our series capacity, which
I am thrilled.
I am absolutely loving this series, and today I think this is going to be awesome. You've titled this one Hitting the Ceiling.
Yeah, here's the thing. Last time I wanted to call it Raise the Ceiling, but you're like, no, it's Raise the Roof.
I didn't notice.
Raise your roof.
I didn't get to any of the notes until after that episode. You didn't tell me that part.
So, all right, so maybe we retitle this to Hit the Roof.
Hit the Roof.
But that's...
I like it.
More like this and less that, but all right. So,
good stuff.
The conversation. This is the conversation that many of you have been waiting for this entire time. You're just like, I will endure this conversation on capacity. I want to know, how do I know I am at capacity? How do I know that I can't expand and grow anymore? Which is if I could just we're going to address that question in just a second, but could we just laugh about that for a second? Because some of you have had that thought in your head the entire time. How do I know I'm at capacity? And what you've been thinking the whole time is, how do I know when I can quit growing? Please tell me. Tell me when I am done growing, because man, that'd be a welcome relief if you knew hey, your capacity's here. You go, I'm there. Don't have to do anything different. I'm good for the rest of my life.
Are you really going to tell us that?
No, I'm going to tell you that.
Physically, I thought you were talking physically. When am I going to stop growing? Because that's what my kid asks me all the time.
Oh, that's fair. But that's what. Just say I know there are some people. This is what you've been waiting to hear. Hey, I'm at capacity, so I don't have to try hard anymore. I don't have to change anything that I'm doing. And so, if I could give some pieces, and I'm gonna allude to that for a second, and then there's gonna be a slight twist within this episode. A twist, like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, except hopefully the ending to this podcast doesn't suck like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Good. So here's how to know that you have hit the ceiling. Some indicators that you have hit the ceiling. For one, things start falling apart and you're unaware of it. As you're growing, there will be things that are falling apart and aren't going well. Your ability to understand it shows that you're still growing into your capacity. But when things are falling apart, when relationships are falling apart, when responsibilities are falling apart, and you have no idea what's happening until they've happened, that's when you've hit the ceiling in some way. A second way to know that you've hit the ceiling, your strengths are no longer activated. Your strengths are no longer activated. I'm not saying that I'm funny, okay? I'm not saying that I'm funny, but I do like to make jokes.
Yes.
There's a difference there.
Yes.
Whenever I am at capacity, when I've hit the ceiling, I no longer make jokes.
Oh, wow.
Like the humor goes out of my life. I'm just doing. Life isn't. I try to bring fun to anything that I do. If I'm no longer bringing fun, that's a strength of mine. It means I've hit the ceiling. So if your strengths are no longer activated, you've hit the ceiling. If you can no longer see the declining cycle of your energy. Now this is a hard thing. I'm not saying your energy is declining, because as you're growing into your capacity and expanding your energy and what you can handle, like, you're going to be tired and you may become increasingly tired.
Yes.
If you can no longer see it, like if you can no longer tell what's going on, I'll go through a season, I'm tired going in. I know I'm going to be even more tired going out. Yep. But if you're unaware of that process, if you're unaware of responsibilities falling off, if you're unaware of the way in which your strengths are no longer activated, and if you're unaware of the declining cycle of your energy, like, that's what it means is you've hit the ceiling. You've hit the ceiling. You're at capacity. And some of you are like, oh, I've been waiting for it. Thank you so much. Yeah. And this is what it means. It means you should back off for now. Just for now.
Yes.
Not forever. Yeah. Like, for now, you've hit the ceiling. You're no longer expanding your capacity. Back off just for this moment. And this is what I want you to see. Okay, 2 things right here. For one, like, your capacity in one season is not necessarily your capacity in the next. Just because you're at capacity now doesn't mean you're at capacity from what you'll be 5 years from now.
Yep.
And this helps us understand the second piece of how we increase our capacity. Because in the last episode, we talked about, hey, thinking like an architect in your physical and your spiritual and your mental capacity, and learning new skills and learning new levels of energy. But there is a rhythm in which we learn to increase our capacity. And the rhythm is simply this: rev up and focus in. Rev up and focus in. It's not rev up and scale down. Rev up and focus in. The rev up rhythm, the rev up phase, is when you are broadening your responsibility. It's when you're learning how to increase your efficiency. It's when you're taking on more than you're used to. And then all of a sudden within there, you're learning better ways of doing things. You're learning how to multitask. You're learning how to delegate. You're learning how to focus. You're learning how to hold multiple ideas at the same time.
Yep.
You're paying multiple bills.
Yeah.
Like, it is a rev up phase. I am taking on more. And as you rev up, eventually you'll hit the ceiling. I mean, all right, could I rephrase that? If you keep revving up constantly,
yes,
eventually you'll hit the ceiling.
Yes.
Most of us rev up for a second, then we're like, ooh, I'm going to back off a little bit. I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
I didn't get my, no one ever says
I'm running hot.
No one ever says I didn't get my 8 hours of sleep. Like, what it is I didn't get my 7 hours of sleep and my 4 hours on social media as I laid in bed. Like, just say, if you feel like you're at your physical capacity and you're scrolling through Facebook when you're in bed, you're not at your physical capacity.
Yes.
Okay, rev up, broadening your responsibility. And when you hit the ceiling, it is a cue that it is time to focus in. Now, the focus in rhythm, the focus in phase is when you clarify your priorities and you focus on increasing your excellence. And this is the rhythm. You go, I'm going to broaden my responsibility and I'm going to become more efficient in everything that I do. And then you go, okay, this is too much. Now I figure out which pieces don't need to be here. And if we could, I hope I'm going to make this metaphor work because I didn't think through it well. Go back to the block metaphor. Your life is a container, and everything in your life are the blocks of all different shapes and sizes. As you broaden your responsibility, along with your energy and your purpose and your mental edge, your container will expand and there will be more blocks.
Yep.
And then you're going to go, oh, this is eventually you're going to go, oh, this is too much. Like there's too much going on here. And so you don't shrink the container because you realize I can do more than I did before. My container expanded. You don't shrink the container back. You figure out which blocks are most important and you increase those. And I know there's where you go, you can't increase a block. Yeah, that's kind of where the metaphor falls apart. I get that piece of it. But it's a matter of like, then there is a time where I go, I'm focusing in. I'm deciding these are the pieces that make the biggest impact. These are the pieces that matter most. And I'm going to seek to increase my excellence in this level. So go back through personal illustration. I've talked several times now about the 6-month season in my life where I was given 3 different messages a week. I went from 1 message to 3 messages. Whenever I went back to 1 message a week, I had learned new efficient ways of preparing messages. I had learned new levels of intensity to my study, but I didn't completely scale off my time because this is a time to increase my excellence. This matters. And so I've expanded and now I'm focusing. The rev up phase forces you to increase your capacity skills. The focus in phase forces you to deploy those skills at the areas of highest leverage. You don't leave them behind. You still apply them. You just focus them for a greater impact.
That's great.
Now, if you hit the ceiling, it's because of one of 2 things. Either you revved up too hard. If you're actually hitting the ceiling, you go, I just kept revving up at a faster and faster pace, and then I just slammed against it. I can't increase my capacity anymore. I've got too many blocks in what's in my container right now. So it's either because you revved up too hard, or this is the more likely piece. Everybody wants to think I'm at capacity because I'm going too hard. And I think it's probably more likely the second, and that is you didn't learn the lessons you should have learned during the focus in phase. See, when we focus in, all of a sudden we're able to go, hey, I need to pass this off. I need to pass this off. You need to take this on. Or if you don't have people to delegate to, you go, I need to leave this behind altogether. This is not a priority for me. And when you step back, you gain a sense of clarity. You gain a sense of priorities. And you understand better ways. You learn better ways of operating and living your life. If you don't learn, when you rev up again, you're going to hit the same ceiling.
Yeah.
And so I want you to see, like, we have this thought, say it like this, physical training. You'll, like, people say, whether it's running or bodybuilding or any of those other things, those, like, strictly physical exercises. You go, I hit the ceiling. Yeah. And what do? They need to step away.
Yeah.
Like, if a runner can't break their PR with intense training for months and months and months, you go, your body needs a little break. You need to step back for a little bit, and then you need to re-engage with a new strategy. What if that was true of your responsibility level in how you lived your life? Rev up and then focus in. And use this as a constant rhythm. Don't buy into the narrative. I have a set ceiling and I'm stuck there. Because the ceiling in one season might not be the ceiling in next. And so by identifying this rhythm, you'll better be able to continuously expand your capacity.
I think that's a powerful, powerful statement. Ready to know that is important, that our capacity in season changes.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think we think, it's got to be the same. Mm-hmm. Our capacity, whatever that is, has got to be the same. And it's not. It's different based on where you are in life and what you're currently working on and what you're striving to accomplish. And I wrote down capacity changes, cultivating doesn't.
Oh, I like
that. We're still to cultivate. We're still trying to figure out new ways. It's just different, right? It's just different in seasons. That's a powerful point. I hope that everyone's writing that down.
I think what people do is they'll hit the ceiling in one season, and then they'll step back, and then they'll swear they'll never do it again.
Yeah.
And go, don't do it the same way again.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you're stuck where you are. And they go, oh, that was awful. I almost killed myself.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay, first of all, that's too far. Don't do that. But to go, you're not stuck. Just because it didn't work once doesn't mean it can't work through a different approach.
Right.
a different time.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful, powerful thing to realize. And that leads me, so normally when I try to ask these questions to you in general, I'm always looking for the way that they make something negative into a positive. That's really what I'm always trying to do. How do we take the negative and make it a positive? That's what I'm always. This question is the reverse in the fact.
How do you take a positive into a negative?
No, it's the reverse in what. Here, I'll just ask you. I just wanted to make sure that we understood the question.
I just thought you were queuing me up to be like gloom and doom no matter what you said.
No,
like,
but
VJ, we're all gonna die.
It is to that point. I mean, here's the question. Talk about the effects, the risk for leaders of not focusing in, of not revving up, and just making it through the day on a long basis. You do this over and over. What happens to you as a leader over time if you don't do the things that you're talking about, which is revving up, focusing in when you think you've hit the ceiling over a elongated period of time? You do this over and over again. You don't do these things. What is that risk to that leader over time?
So we could look at this on so many different levels based upon your prime motivation is where it's going to stick the most.
Mm-hmm.
So like for one is you'll never grow as a leader.
Yeah.
And if that's your ultimate concern, I know you want to grow as a leader because you're part of this.
Yeah, you're listening.
That's an issue. You'll never grow. Your organization, the potential impact of your organization will never grow. It'll never expand beyond it is. If you want to be known for something, that's what care. Can I tell you why I care?
Absolutely.
Is my people will never exceed my ability.
Yeah.
Pace of the leader, pace of the team. Growth of the leader, growth of the team. And if I don't learn how to focus in and pass off, they're stuck.
Right.
Like, and if I could just give, that's something that wears on me. And I say that in a good way of just going, if I hold on to responsibility that I shouldn't hold on to, they're stuck. Yeah. Like I am stifling their growth. And so I've just had to learn of going, man, what is the thing? And I know it sounds like we use it as such an odd phrase when we go, as a leader, what is the thing that only you can do?
Right.
And we use it almost like a sense of superiority of like, what's the thing only you can do?
Yeah.
And they go, no, what's the thing my people can do? What's the thing our team can do that I want them to be able to step into?
Right.
Because I don't want them to get stuck behind my ego.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to get stuck behind my capacity.
Yeah. That's
fantastic. That's my concern.
That's a great answer. That's a good thing to realize when you're thinking of these things that we have to do in order to not stifle the progress of your team.
Yeah.
So that's important. What else is there when we talk about revving up? Is there? I mean, obviously, the last episode we talked about spiritual, mental, and physical capacities that help us basically for those skills. What else can we do to help ourselves rev up when we hit the ceiling? Is there a period of time? I know it's all based on where you're at, but is there a period of time that you found that has helped you take a week away? I know that you do the 3 days.
Yeah.
Like
in terms of my focus in season.
Yeah. Is there a period of time that you know that works
that's great.
well, or that hey, 3 days, a week, remove yourself from the situation for X amount of time, and then focus back in, then rev up?
So if, to reference an earlier podcast, one of the ones that we got the best feedback on was rhythms.
Yes.
And we talked about rhythms. And we talked about evaluation rhythms. We talked about having times daily and weekly and quarterly and annually to just be able to evaluate where you are.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from. If that rhythm isn't already in place, our tendency is we just keep revving up, and then we overreact to the revving up.
Yeah.
Like, when I set up my week, I know what season I'm in. When I plan out the next quarter of my work and family and relational life, I know what season I'm in. And so there's times I talk about waking up. There's times that I go, I need to scale back. I need to chill it out a little bit. And I know my family and team is already telling me that you need to chill it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But by having those evaluation rhythms, I take the time to know, no, we're in a season of conquest, or we're in a season of consolidation.
Okay.
And to know where I am personally makes a massive difference.
That's fantastic. I love that. A season of conquest and a season of
consolidation.
It's kind of like that. That's fantastic. You know what? I think we got a future podcast series. Know Your Season. Ooh, that is good.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah,
now.
write it down.
I'm writing it down now.
If you're watching on YouTube, he's actually writing it down. But hey, listen, this has been a great. I mean, I love this. Hitting the Ceiling, episode 47. Is there something you want someone to leave with today?
Your season in one season is not necessarily your season in next. Know the rhythm. Rev up. Focus in. Learn the lessons from the focus in season so you can rev up in the next.
That's fantastic. We'll leave it right there. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, please do that. We talked about it last series or last episode. The algorithms are real.
The algorithms are real.
They're out to get us. Also, to post about it, rate and review or both. You won't believe how that helps us get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders like you. We love hearing your stories every week, how the podcast is working in your life and business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online. It's really easy. Just go to leadinghope.online, click the contact, and send us your feedback. We love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.